Have you ever wondered why your phone is the first thing you touch in the morning and the last thing you see before you close your eyes? Why a moment of silence feels like suffocation? Why your thoughts only feel real if someone else reacts to them? Have you ever asked yourself, what is your life actually made of? Because it's not measured in years, it's measured in attention, and you've been giving it away one scroll at a time. You are not free. You are a slave, not in chains, but in habits. Not to a tyrant, but to the algorithm. Not in a cell, but in your own mind. You think you're in control, but watch closely. You flinch when it buzzes. You panic when you leave it behind. You open it without thinking, as if it's breathing for you. And that's the most dangerous kind of slavery, the kind you mistake for comfort. Have you ever wondered who benefits from your distraction? Because someone does. Every second you stare at that screen, someone gets richer. Someone gets louder. Someone gets more control over what you think, what you buy, and who you believe you are. You are not the customer. You are the product. Your attention is being bought and sold in real time, packaged, analyzed, and resold to shape your choices before you even know you've made them. And the scariest part? You call this freedom. You call it staying connected. You call it just a scroll. But deep down you know something sacred is being taken from you. Not all at once, but drip by drip, until your willpower is gone. Your thoughts are not your own. And you wake up one day, a stranger in your own mind. Your mind is like a blade, but every time you scroll, you dull it. You trade sharpness for sedation, depth for dopamine. You weren't built for this constant drip of stimulation, no one is. And yet, here we are, sharpening nothing, slicing nothing, just tapping, 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 until the blade becomes a spoon. The Stoics never warned us about smartphones, but they did warn us about seduction, about losing command of your soul, about trading clarity for chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." But what happens when your estimate is constantly shaped by strangers? What happens when your opinion of yourself is filtered through lenses, feeds, and fake perfection? Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. He fought wars, buried children, and wrote about stillness in his own blood. You get anxious when a post doesn't get enough likes. The contrast is painful, but it should be. Because you have access to more information than any emperor in history and still struggle to master the only kingdom that matters, yourself. You've built a false identity, one that only exists online. One that's addicted to applause but terrified of stillness. Have you ever noticed how silence makes you squirm? Because in silence there's no applause, no likes, no distractions, just you and all the thoughts you've been running from. You don't scroll because you're bored. You scroll because you're afraid. Afraid of missing out, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of being average in a world that only celebrates extremes. You scroll because for a few seconds, someone else's life looks more exciting than yours. And that illusion is easier to swallow than facing your own reflection. But have you ever wondered what you're really running from? It's not boredom. It's that quiet, creeping voice that whispers, "You're not who you wanted to become." So you drown it in memes, messages, music, meaningless motion. You scroll to escape that terrifying stillness where you might actually hear your real self speak. Because silence doesn't just expose the noise, it exposes the gap between who you are and who you could have been, and that gap hurts. So instead of closing it, you scroll past it. You double tap someone else's highlight reel, while your own life gathers dust in the background. Seneca said, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property. But as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Have you ever wondered how much you've squandered? How many sunsets you missed while staring at a screen? How many deep thoughts you smothered with noise? How many ideas you'll never have because you never let yourself be bored long enough to think them? You don't need more time. You need to stop leaking it. Every minute spent in mindless consumption is stolen from the future version of you, the one with clarity, with peace, with actual power. But most people don't want power. They want sedation. They don't want to be present. They want to be distracted. Because distraction is painless. Reality isn't. And this is where the Stoic path diverges. Because Stoicism doesn't offer escape, it offers confrontation. It forces you to stare at your impulses, to examine your dependencies, to ask not what is easy, but what is right. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." So ask yourself, have you ever wondered how much of your life is outside your control because you gave it away? To a screen, to a system, to people you don't even know who don't care if you rot in mental fog. And maybe, right now, your mind is pushing back. I'm not that bad. I can quit anytime. This is just how life is now. But deep down, you know that's not true. You feel the fog. You see the hours disappearing. You hear the silence you keep avoiding. So stop lying to yourself. You're not here because everything is fine. You're here because something inside you is starving and it's not being fed by a screen. But here's what the Stoics knew. You can reclaim it. And it doesn't require a revolution. It requires a refusal. A refusal to be owned, to be pulled, to be used. It starts small. Turn off notifications. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Resist the urge to document your life and just live it. Because every time you resist impulse, you reclaim a piece of yourself. That's what the Stoics meant by discipline, not punishment, but power. The power to choose clarity over chaos, presence over noise, principle over impulse. That is real freedom. So, have you ever wondered what it would feel like to have your mind back? To think a thought that's yours, not recycled. To look up and actually see the world again. To not be enslaved by a device or your own addiction to approval. That freedom is still possible. But only for those who are willing to fight for it. Not with fists, but with focus. Reclaim your mind before the world programs it for you. Reclaim your time before you spend it all on someone else's dream. Reclaim yourself before you forget who you were ever meant to be.